right? But dogs will have consciousness.
They have a type of consciousness. It's going to be different than humans, though, and we treat it differently, right? Like we buy and sell dogs. We don't buy and sell people anymore, or at least in most parts of the world.
Okay. So, and to go back to your argument about if left uninterrupted, right, a fetus would develop these faculties, right? And what you're saying, because you made the distinction between dogs and humans, so you are admitting that humans do have at least a different value than dogs, right? We can
I
make
would
that
say so,
agree
yeah.
for okay. So
I think most people would agree, yeah. Even vegans, I think, would agree, yeah.
So what I'm going to is, why do you think that because what you're saying for the value of this life, right, it will happen, right, almost in every case, especially with modern medicine. Why is it okay to interrupt the natural process?
Something being a natural cancer is a natural process. I don't think that just something being
well,
a natural...
I wouldn't say cancer is not a natural process. It's an unnatural thing, right?
Well, what does that mean?
I mean, cancer it's a corrupted cell. It's not supposed to happen, It's not a natural process.
I mean, when we start using words, when we're describing the universe and we say supposed to happen, that's a very normatively loaded word. Like, is anything supposed to happen? Like,
I mean, once you have a developing fetus, right, then the natural process, right, like the thing that, I don't know how else to word that.
Well, I'm just saying that, I don't think that things are biologically or in the world are supposed to happen. They just do happen, right? Like saying something is supposed to or ought to are kind of like human instantiated concepts of normativity. I don't think that anything is supposed to, as far as the universe is concerned. Things just are. So insofar as we get old, are we supposed to have Alzheimer's, or do we just develop it? Are we supposed to get cancer? Does it develop? I don't know if you'd say there's a way that things generally develop, but saying supposed to, I think, is it's pretty normatively loaded. I guess it's not super relevant to this, but the reason why I would say even if we do say that a fetus is supposed to develop into a person, usually when we think of committing harm, usually we're thinking of an agent of some type of thing or being or person that a harm is being committed to. If I talk about abusing a corpse, it's a different type of harm than abusing a living person. And I think the same is true of a fetus. If we talk about ending a fetus, that's different than ending something that's having an experience. If I kill a person, there was a person that knew what it was like to be a human whose experience was ended against their involuntarily, I guess, right? Whereas for a fetus, there's no such person to speak of. There's just a growing thing that doesn't have that conscious experience yet.
Right, but I think where we disagree is that you, for some reason, don't think that a fetus has intrinsic value.
Correct.
Just because it will develop this way if left uninterrupted, right? Because
I don't think just because something will develop in a way doesn't mean it is the thing that it's developing into.
Right. I agree with you. In the moment, it has no conscious experience, but I don't think necessarily that that's a good metric value of human life, right? Even among adults, we all have different experience, right? How do you measure which experience is worth more? You can't. And I think there has to be a different measure. If you say a toddler's experience, right? Because it's very little, and I would even argue that a toddler doesn't even know it's alive or anything, right?
I think they know they're alive.
I don't think so. And if compare a toddler's experience to a 30-year-old, right? According to your definition, if you're left between choosing a toddler and it's more value, right? He's been left to develop more, has learned more things, experienced more things, so his human experience is much greater than a toddler's, right?
I mean, it depends if he's a Trump voter or not. No, but I mean, the actual thing itself, the actual fetus itself, isn't having the experience worth protecting yet. Now, you're saying that a toddler doesn't, but toddlers do. I think by around 24 weeks, the fetus will have the parts of the brain necessary that are communicating to have that conscious experience, to begin to experience what it's like to be something. Now, toddlers might not be as smart, or they might not have the sophisticated semantic understanding of the world that we have, but they're definitely conscious. They definitely have a conscious experience because all the parts of the brain necessary to deploy one are there, and they will continue developing through until the end of your life, I guess, or until you're 25 is the major developments. But I mean, would you really say that a conscious or a toddler isn't conscious?
I'm not saying it's not conscious. I'm saying that that what it's experiencing at the moment really isn't worth much, right? In comparison to most of its life. Absolutely. Oh, okay. Absolutely.
I feel toddlers have a ton of experiences. They laugh and smile in response to parents. They crawl around. They're learning a ton.
How much do you remember from your toddler experience?
I might not have a memory of it, but
that's my point, right? Like,
no, that's
it
not the
sounds
point. Well,
like it's
we can have a
not
question
very
on when we
important.
begin to like solidify memories long term. I think that happens around 2, but that doesn't mean that just because you don't remember things that Tyler's not having an experience.
Right, but what I'm saying that is that it's not very important in comparison to the rest of your experiences, right? And the fact that the toddler will continue to develop and grow into what, I mean, I know you don't like the charged term supposed to be, right? An adult human, but I mean, yeah, that is the natural, left alone, right? Even a toddler will continue to develop.
Well, we can't
right?
say left alone because that's not really true, right? Left alone, it'll die. It requires the mother to continue eating food and like taking care of her body and
Right,
everything.
but
in order to-
again,
right.
that's a natural thing. I would say that a parent taking
natural
care
thing
of
that
their child.
I mean, it kind of is, but I mean, like, again, very normative, loaded terms. So at what point then do you think that a life is worth protecting, or what for you defines like a life? I guess.
I mean, as soon as, well, I don't know how do you mean that question, but for a human, it begins at conception. So it'll be worth more than any animal. It is worth more than any animal.
What makes it a human life, though?
What makes it a human life?
Yeah, because like if
Fact
I
that
cut
it's
your
got-
finger off, it's got DNA. It's human, right?
Right. But if you cut my finger off, it won't be moving after you cut it. Does that make
Sure,
sense?
but I mean, if I take a fetus out of the womb at 2 weeks, it's gonna just die as well, right?
Right, but not if you leave it in the womb, it's going to survive and turn into a baby.
Sure, but if I attach a finger to your arm, it can grow there for a long time. Like that's how they preserve fingers and stuff before they have surgeries.
Right, I don't disagree. So what's your point?
I feel like it just feels unsatisfying to me, I guess, to say that like, well, it's a life just because it has like a set of DNA, even if I feel like we don't ever think of human life in like other terms. Like even when we think of like sophisticated robots, that have you ever seen like the movie like I think it's called Deus Ex, or no, it's called Ex Machina. I'm sorry.
I haven't. No.
Okay,
I
but
haven't.
even if we think of these other movies or the new Alien movies or whatever, where it's like, oh my God, is it alive? Like in Star Trek, Data or whatever, is it alive? Like we're not usually asking like, does it have human DNA? We're usually asking like, does it have a sophisticated conscious experience where it's like got an understanding of what it's like to be something, and then all of the natural extensions off of that.
Well, but again, if going back to a toddler doesn't have a sophisticated understanding of what it's like to be things, you know?
I feel like they do. I think maybe we just fundamentally disagree on that.
Maybe.
I think toddlers have a pretty sophisticated understanding of like existing and being human. Their brain is doing a ton of stuff. But
I think
maybe you just really hate toddlers. Are you a Pitbull fan?
So let's go back to what you were saying of, with like, if for example, if we have someone in a coma, right? I know you
Yeah.
talked about this earlier.
Yep.
The difference there, I think, is even that. I mean, that human at the moment is not having a conscious experience. Is that would you
Correct,
agree
yeah.
with that? Okay, so that's different than a fetus because a fetus, right, will have that eventually. A coma, it's like I don't know.
Well, but I
right?
mean, to my point for the coma, that's how we decide exactly if a coma person is going to live or die, if they're ever going to wake up again. Because if a coma person is never waking up, we'd usually say, okay, it's time to pull the plug, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would disagree
on
with
the-
you there too.
You would keep a comatose person alive forever?
I absolutely would.
Okay.
I mean, I just think that the chance of life is worth more than anything, you know? So like if I mean, this is, you know, not necessarily related to abortion anymore, but if the comatose person has a chance to live again, or I mean, have conscious experience, like you say, I mean, it's alive, the body's alive, so then absolutely preserve that because it's the one life they have. You know, as soon as they end that, it's over.
Okay, I'll ask kind of like a practical question, I guess, and then I'll give you the final word on this. Let's say we have like a ton of comatose people then that all have like a 0.1% chance of waking up. Do you essentially plug these people all up and you just wait indefinitely to see like when they like could wake up again if we know there's like a pretty good chance that they're never going to, or is that like a thing that you would just keep these people, their bodies alive indefinitely?
Yeah, I mean, if I could keep them alive indefinitely until they woke up again, I would. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate the
Hey,
conversation.
man, you too.
Yeah, thanks a
It's
lot.
been a pleasure.
I appreciate it.
My name is Yash.
Josh or Yash?
Yash.
Okay,
Y-A-S-H.
Gotcha.
Confusion of many coffee places.
Okay, gotcha. What do you got?
So, for me, I think in order to determine whether abortion should be legal or not legal, we need to determine whether abortion carries wrongness in the way that we use for legality, right? Which may differ from our personal calculations of ethics, you know. I mean, we don't necessarily deem that an asshole should be a criminal and that a criminal should be an asshole. So I think for Western countries, it's mostly based at the